Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting. Are you ready to leave the recession behind for a fresh start in 2012? Many of us have already gone through the new year with our New Year's resolutions, and still, now that we've been into 2012 for a couple of weeks, we can still see that it's a little tougher to end old habits and to start new ones. One of the first things that we have to think about that has been so tough in 2011 includes the fact that many of us have lost our jobs, many of us have lost relationships, many of us have lost investments. Many of us have looked for another job being paid less money than we were paid before. And many of our relationships have also strained because of financial trouble. In my work as a doctor as well as a coach for over 20 years, one of the most important things that I love to work with my patients and my clients is how to let go of the past so that you can start fresh this new year. The first point is to limit your automatic responses of always looking for the worst case scenario. So watch out your language. Try to see if you're constantly thinking about the negatives or the things that can go wrong instead of trying to think about the good things that can happen. So become very aware of your fear and or anxiety that would prevent you from succeeding next time. Be watchful for making sure that you're not only thinking about worst possible scenarios if they did happen to you last year, but also make sure that you can somewhat let go of your successes. Many people get stuck on their successes too, and sometimes that will limit their ability to continue to improve. So make sure that you use the best of what you've done in the past and use that as a fuel so that you can even continue to improve in the future. A couple of other things. Lack of self-confidence will definitely keep you back, and this may be a great time for you to try to discover ways in which you can position yourself to move forward. Make sure that you're not constantly looking at the negatives, and this means not only about yourself, but also make sure that you're not canceling other people's dreams or that you're constantly looking at what they cannot do instead of how you can potentiate them and help them in terms of what they can do. Number two, how do you know that you're still stuck in the past? Well, oftentimes you can see in your language you're constantly referring to the past. Whether it's a past relationship that worked or didn't work, whether you're constantly talking about your ex, whether you're constantly talking about your previous job, whether it was good or bad. And again, sometimes people think it's just the bad that we keep coming up in the present. However, if we're constantly bringing up the very good that happened in the past, that's going to get us stuck too. A couple of other ways to see if you're just stuck include feeling bored or feeling empty, feeling like there's no guidance for you, feeling like you don't really have a good north. So think about some of these things, and hopefully they're going to help you get unstuck too. Number three, why is it impossible to have a positive relationship at work, in business, or with a new partner if you're still stuck in the past? Well, what happens if you're still thinking about anger or loss, or if you're still resentful about things that happened to you in the past, if you had bad relationships? Make sure that you realize that that is going to taint the way in which you're going to go into future relationships. So for example, let's say a business partner cheated on you and made a deal without your knowledge about that. Chances are you're going to be very apprehensive with new partners, and chances are you're still going to probably not trust as much because of that past relationship. So make sure that you can work through whatever didn't work so that that doesn't come with you along as you venture into the future. That's going to be very important. The second part is watch your surroundings. Who are your friends? Who continue to be your business partners? Do you still keep up the gossip with old friends who keep reminding you of that past? If that is so, and you really know it in your heart that you want to move on fresh, you may need to let go of those relationships, or you may need to chat with them and say, let's not gossip about that anymore. I really want a fresh start as I venture into the future. Number 4, what can you shed that is old to start new and venture into new pastures, so to speak? The first thing is to try to figure out if you can make a list of all the things that really did work for you well last year. So make a list of 3 to 10 things that were really useful, really helpful to you. Number 2, try to see if you can fix 2 or 3 things that did not work for you as well last year. These are bad habits that you really want to leave behind. So you've become aware and you realize you need to try to fix these too. The third one is try to look around. Are you inspiring other people, or are people running away from you? Try to see how this is affecting your own ability to relate to other people. Number 4 is try to look into 2 or 3 good habits that will help you continue to build upon the person you want to become this new year and start today. 2 or 3 habits that you can get started with today. And number 5, I see a lot of this anger and or fear and or being stuck in the past that still holds you back. Try to make sure that you can manage and control some of these things that keep you there. Why? Oftentimes if we have a label by other people that we may not be able to control our anger very well, or that we are fearful, for some reason, sometimes we feel like we need to continue to live up to that label. But make a conscious decision to yourself saying, well, I may have been an angry person last year, but this is not who I am as of today. It's never late to start. And number 5, why should you live life to the fullest? Well, the first reason why you should is no one else is going to do it for you. So unless you decide to live your own life, no one else is going to be able to do that for you better than you can. Oftentimes people say, well, my partner doesn't want me to do this, or I can't do this because I have kids, or I can't do that because I need to work. Every time you limit yourself, remember, it is really you limiting yourself. Number 2 here. Many people constantly talk about fixing your self-esteem problem. Well, guess what? Your self-esteem may not be in good shape, but oftentimes the number 1 reason of why I see that self-esteem doesn't work so well for people is they're not looking into themselves with clarity. What usually happens is we start comparing ourselves to someone else. We may want to become someone else instead of becoming the best that we can be. So the best thing that we can do about that self-esteem is building ourselves in such a way that we are totally aligned with ourselves, that we say, we think, and we feel something that is completely aligned, and it's not like our head is thinking one thing, our heart is feeling something else, and we're saying something completely different. Number 3, you're getting older. So the earlier that you make this life change and feel much better about yourself, the longer of a chance you'll have of living life to the fullest. Number 4, remember, if you have kids and if you want to leave a legacy, you're going to do your kids a favor. If you can live life to the fullest, if you truly know who you are, your kids are going to notice. And it's going to be a lot easier for them to live their life to the fullest as early as possible and save you a lot of money in going to the psychiatrist or the psychologist or seeking further self-help solutions if you can try to do that earlier on. And number 5, As I was just mentioning before, when you're truly aligned, when your brain, when your thoughts are aligned with your heart, and when that is aligned with the way that you speak, the way that you behave, and the way that you communicate, you're really one and one in all as you relate to the rest of the world. So live life to the fullest, completely aligned, being yourself. No one else can do that for you. And those are my suggestions for you to have a wonderful 2012.